Hey everybody, it's Jennifer. I am actually in the process of linking up the page and this lovely internet, which is supposed to be 300 megs per second, is just dragging right along. So appreciate everyone. I actually started trying to get all this stuff linked up 10 minutes before 6. It's now almost 6:20, so we will just have patience. And for my AT&T rep who came by earlier this week to check my signal and check everything, yeah, this is what's happening. You didn't believe me because the signal is testing well, but I'm still having issues. In any event, started momentarily as soon as I get this page to load. But tonight, what I'm going to be sharing is some of the mega secrets all about credit that the creditors, the credit bureaus do not want you to know. These are this is information that a lot of people are unaware of, and because of not being familiar with some of these laws and some of these ways that the creditors and credit bureaus, coincide to plot against you or plot against the consumer. A lot of us do things that are detrimental to our overall credit picture without even realizing it. So we're going to dig into these things and give you some tips on how you can alleviate those issues. As soon as I get this page to load, and it's loading, it's trying to come to me. There we are. I feel like I'm on dial-up. For those of you that are too young to know what dial-up is, oh gosh, lucky you. But literally, this is taking a little while. And probably the more that I click, the more it's taking longer. Anyway, definitely this is going to be some great information. So make sure that you like and share this information so that the people around you can get empowered as well and understand more about their credit and how it works. Guard themselves against unfair credit practices, unfair credit lending standards, and the like. We're all about financial empowerment, financial freedom, lifestyle freedom. For those of you that are not familiar with me or my company, my name is Jennifer Carroll, and my company is called Get Your Credit Perfect Now. I also have a business that is focused on assisting individuals that are that have businesses and are trying to build out business credit. Either startup businesses, people that are looking to establish new businesses, but it's all about helping people to, I'm promoting entrepreneurship. And in fact, my goal for this coming year, 2019, is to impact 1,000 individuals and help them to either build or grow their business. So if you are brand new and you're looking to start a business, or you're an established entrepreneur, small business owner that is looking for resources and tools to build your business even faster, whether it is funding, whether it is business resources, it may not be physical or monetary capital that you need. Maybe you need human capital. They need to be connected to someone who can help you with marketing or promotion or something along those lines. That is what we do at the Business Funding Network. So it's a little more encompassing, not just on the credit side, not just on the funding side, but also on just getting together resources to help you to enhance and grow your business and take your business to the next level. So I am almost done, and I apologize that this is taking a little while, and I appreciate your patience, but we are definitely going to get into some meat and potatoes very shortly, and it will be very well worth the wait. So I appreciate your patience. Okay. This is about to publish, I think. Oh, here we go. Let me try it on my phone. Maybe that'll work a little better. And again, you gotta love technology. It's fantastic when it works. When it works is the operative phrase. This is just like mind-boggling that I cannot. I guess the YouTube, the video program takes up so much space. Maybe it's a memory issue on my computer, which is a possibility. So maybe I'll give AT&T a little bit of benefit of the doubt, a slight bit of benefit. Okay, this is not appearing to be working. So with that being said, I am about to just go ahead and get started and worry about transferring the information after the fact. If I can't get this to... Okay. All right, we're just going to go ahead and get started because I cannot seem to get this other page to want to cooperate. And it's been almost 7 or 8 minutes just fiddling with this. And I apologize. I'm like right here on the screen trying to figure this thing out. It's not letting me do it on my phone either. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and get started, and I am not going to worry about it. We'll have to send out a blast after the fact. So what we're going to be talking about today is the secrets that the credit bureaus do not want you to know. I am going to go ahead and see if I can do something real quick. Hold on one second. Let me see. Okay. I'm not gonna too worry about it. Okay. So, what we're going to be talking about, as I said, the secrets that the credit bureaus don't want you to know. As I mentioned, um, there are a lot of consumer protections that are in place to safeguard you from having your credit be unnecessarily hijacked by a creditor. One of the things that you should be aware of that a lot of people don't realize is that technically, in a certain type of way, creditors kind of do have free reign to put information on your credit report. Literally, a company today can decide, you know what, I want to throw a collection on your credit report, and there is no type of real safeguard to prevent them from doing so. So, literally, it is one of those things that if you are not paying attention to your credit on an ongoing basis, you can literally be a victim of information being put on your credit report that is totally inaccurate. And so that's why it is extremely important to have credit monitoring and always be aware of what's going on with your credit. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't think about this until it's time for them to make do some type of transaction. Perhaps you're about to buy a house or you're about to buy a car or you apply for credit and you're turned down and you don't understand why you've been turned down. A lot of times this happens and it's a result of people not really knowing what's going on with their credit and not being aware of what's going on can be very, very expensive. It can be it can be very embarrassing. Nothing is worse than going to a car dealership. You've knowing that you've paid your bills on time. You're feeling confident because you've been working on, being conscientious about your credit, and then you go to apply and they pull it, and then they're like, oh no, either we can't approve you, or if we do approve you, you're going to be paying like 20+ % interest on, this Honda Civic. So now your payment is like almost $400 for a car that costs, $15,000. So all of these things are very, very important to be aware of. And, again, you don't necessarily have to subscribe to a paid service, although I recommend it. Just being aware of what's on there is helpful. So sites like Credit Karma, Credit Sesame are good because you can at least be aware of what's on your credit report. The scores and all that, those are not FICO based, so they're not accurate. So when you do go to pull credit in different sources, you'll find that your score is a lot different than what you'll pull up on a Credit Sesame or a Credit Karma. But it is a good baseline to just let you know what's going on. So sites that I do recommend would be Credit Check Total, creditreport.com, any place that can allow you to any paid service that allows you to pull a 3 bureau credit report, because you definitely want to understand what's going on all 3 bureaus. A lot of times people will, get a single credit pull done, their one credit report, and they have a 700 score on one, credit bureau, and then they pull the other two and find that they have like a 620 and a 603, just very, very different things, because not all creditors report to all 3 bureaus. So the information can be very, very different. So I'm going to go right into some of the secrets that the credit bureaus do not want you to know. And some of these things are probably you may have heard, or some of them you may have not. So I definitely recommend that if you are somebody who's looking to improve your credit, if you are somebody that's trying to build your credit, you're trying to, take your credit seriously moving into 2019, that you make sure you grab a pen and paper and take some notes, because I'm going to be sharing with you some information that will definitely, some of it is a little intricate, so you want to make sure that you understand how this process is going to work. So the number one the secret that the credit bureaus and your creditors do not want you to know, actually I'm gonna give you one before. I have 10 of them, but I'm actually gonna give you one before I even go into my list. And that is, a lot of people don't realize that the credit bureaus are not a government agency, or they're not a they're literally private companies. So these are private corporations that are making money off of compiling all of your personal information. And so literally a lot of the investors into these private companies, or into these publicly held companies, are they're the creditors themselves. So literally these creditors have a self-interest in, the way that the information is reported onto your credit report. I've literally talked to various credit experts that have mentioned the fact that these companies are literally incentivized to report negative information about you, because they sell your information to creditors. So as we know, the worse your credit is, the more money that a company stands to make off of you, which means the more money that they are willing to pay the credit bureaus for your information. So it's literally like a this hamster wheel of just conspiracy. And I'm somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. I'm not like a big diehard person like that, but a lot of this is just it's just facts, and it's stuff that you can easily research on your own. So just be aware that this is a business for them, and they really have no specific interest in making sure that the information on your credit report is correct or accurate or legit. So it's literally up to you as a consumer to be very, very disciplined and adamant that you are taking responsibility and making sure that the information that's being reported about you is correct, because they are not going to do it. Another thing that I want to bring up is that oh, actually, I'll wait to bring that point up. So we'll go into the 10 secrets that the credit bureaus and the creditors do not want you to know. So number one, that the number one thing is that I want you to understand that paying off your debt does not necessarily improve your credit score. So when I say paying off your debt, I mean specifically paying off collection accounts. A lot of people, unfortunately, life happens. We all, I think every person that's probably watching this video has had some type of challenge. Maybe you have lost your job. Maybe you have, had a health scare. You had a health challenge and you had to go in the hospital, or a family member got sick and you had to take care of them. Whatever the case may be, you may have been impacted in some form or fashion financially, which caused you to either fall behind on your payments, or just have a collection account, maybe as for like a medical bill or something along those lines. If that is the case, most people, in general, I think the majority of people are good natured and really are responsible people. And when we incur a debt, we generally want to take care of the debt. However, what I want you to understand is that even if you have a collection account on your credit report, paying that particular collection off is not going to improve your credit score. In fact, it's actually going to make your credit score go down if you do not pay it off in a specific way. So what I want you to understand is that, don't automatically just feel like, okay, well, I owe this debt. This person, maybe it's the medical collection. They're reporting it on my credit report. It's something from like a year ago. I'm just going to go online, pay this off, and my credit will shoot up and all will be good. When you do something like that, what you're going to find is that your credit score actually goes tumbling down. And the reason why is because what happens is your credit score is impacted by the dates of last activity on all of your individual accounts. So if you have a collection that is a year old, it's impacting your score a lot less than a collection account that's reported this month. So with that being said, when you pay off that collection account, you're restarting the date of last activity on that particular account, which means that now instead of having a 1 year old collection, you actually have a 1 month old paid collection, which is still considered a collection and it still negatively impacts your credit. So it's not advantageous to you at all to just go ahead and pay off your collections. You really want to do it in a certain way, and I'll talk about that right now. So basically, if you have a collection account and you've disputed it, you've gone through a whole, credit restoration process on it, and you have not been able to get it removed, what you want to do is actually contact the creditor and say, listen, I am willing to settle. Oh, let me just back up a little bit. One thing that you need to understand about collection is that a collection account is basically when a company sells your debt to another company for a major discount. So let's just say that you owe me $1,000, and I'm like, you know what, they're not going to pay me this $1,000. This is a loss. I'm going to claim it on my income taxes at the end of the year as a loss. So I'm just going to sell it to another company so that at least instead of, I won't get $1,000, but maybe I'll get like $100 for it. Okay, cool. So they sell your $1,000 account for $100. And now that collection company is going to contact you and say, listen, you owe us $1,000. And they're going to start into their thing, sending you letters, sending you threatening letters, calling you with threatening phone calls, potentially, all that stuff. And so what I want you to understand is that collection companies literally do not really have a leg to stand on, because they are not the original creditor and you did not sign any type of debt obligation with that company. So literally 9 times out of 10, you can get those items removed from your credit report by using the disputing process that I'll be talking about in this video. However, if that, in the case that does not happen, or you want to get this addressed a lot quicker, you can actually do what is called a like a settlement on that particular debt, because you understand that if it's gone to a collection agency, they have literally bought it for pennies on the dollar. So there's no reason to pay them $1,000 for a debt that literally they paid, pennies on the dollar for. So you can decide what you feel comfortable with settling that account for, and contact the collection agency and tell them, listen, I'm willing to settle this account immediately, mail you a cashier's check or do a payment over the phone, whatever the case may be, if you are willing to send me something in writing stating that if I pay this account at the amount that I'm specifying, that you will notate this account as you will actually delete the account from my credit report. So you can either have them, well, no, if it's a collection, you don't want it to show as paid in full because it's still a collection. You want them to just delete it. So in the letter, you want to make sure that you're asking them to delete the account, not notate it as paid as full, but just delete it, and have them send this to you in writing. And make sure that they understand that you are aware of your own consumer rights, because literally if they do not tell them, listen, I understand, how my credit works. At this point, there's no way that my credit will get any worse than what it already is, because you've already reported this collection to me. So the only way that you can ensure that you get your money, Mr. Collection Agency person, is if you try to work with me and accepts this settlement amount. And, again, 9 times out of 10, they're going to do it, because otherwise, I mean, you're correct. They can't do anything more to you. The collection if it's on your report already, it's already doing you harm. So the only thing that could happen is they re-report it as a paid collection, and that restarts a negative reporting on your credit. So it's just not advantageous to you for them not to do that. So usually they will do it. So just keep that in mind, because that's a mistake that I see a lot of people make when it comes to their credit repair process. They may pay off a number of collection accounts, and then they realize, wow, my score has tumbled like 20, 30 plus points. and it just creates a whole mess. So that's something to keep in mind. So that's number one. Number two, of the secrets that the credit bureaus and your creditors don't want you to know is that any item on your credit report can be challenged and removed. So one thing that you need to understand is that the burden of proof is on the creditor. So it's kind of like the legal justice system. In essence, it's not a matter of whether or not you commit a crime, quote unquote, a crime, or not, whether or not you were speeding down the road or not. If you appear in court, it is the burden of proof is on the state to prove that you were actually doing so. So if they cannot prove that, then they have to dismiss the case. And it's the same thing with your credit report. So, you may have had a late payment or a collection or something like that on your credit report, and it is up to the credit bureaus and the creditor to follow the law and make sure that the information reported is 100% accurate, and make sure that they're following the law and how the timeline that they're reporting it, all those different things. If they're not doing that, then they are legally obligated to remove that item. So again, this is something that is designed to safeguard you because, as I mentioned earlier, creditors can literally just throw information on your credit report when they want to, but this is the main safeguard for us as consumers to make sure that the information that's being reported is in fact correct. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now, a lot of people don't realize that inquiries can also be removed. This is number three. A lot of people, there are two different types of inquiries that you may see that happen on your credit report. One is what's called a soft inquiry, and the other is called a hard inquiry. And the difference is a soft inquiry is when a creditor basically does not officially pull your credit. They actually just do a kind of a snapshot of your credit. It's a little bit different process. It may happen when you are you may be applying for a bank accounts. They usually ask for your full social, but you might be on a website and about to check out, and they offer you a store credit card or something like that. They may just ask for the last 4 digits of your social security number, and that would be a soft pull of your credit to see if you qualify. So it's kind of like if you were to bring in a physical copy of your own credit report and show it to them, and then they make a determination instead of them actually pulling your credit themselves. So that's kind of what a soft pull is. Soft pulls are generally done automatically by companies. So if you are, most people are already opted in to receive credit offers by default. Because again, like I said, the credit bureaus sell your personal information to or the credit reporting agencies sell your information to creditors. So with that, they basically are doing soft pulls on your credit to see if you qualify for specific company offers. So you may be getting Capital One credit card offers or Chase credit card offers or something like that, with the notice you have been pre-approved. If you've been pre-approved, that's because they conducted a soft pull of your credit. So the other type of inquiry is a hard pull. And that basically is something like if you are directly applying for credit. So if you are applying for a credit card, or you are trying to purchase a car or purchase a home or something along those lines, that would be considered a hard pull. And that is actually one of the things that counts against your credit score. So in general, and there's a lot of different conversation about how many points you usually see a hit for inquiries. And from what I have seen, it's generally anywhere between 2 to 6 points is generally what I see per inquiry. But again, it really varies, especially if you're in a specific industry, getting your credit pulled. So let's just say that you're shopping for a car and you have your credit pulled a whole bunch of times. It's not going to impact you as much as if you were getting, your credit pulled from a car company, and then you went to the mortgage company, then you went to the credit card agency, and then you went to the finance company. All those different things are going to impact you a lot differently than being in the same industry, because they understand that people shop around. So with that being said, specifically for the car industry, a lot of people will see that their credit has been pulled like 10, 15, 20 times because they walked into a car dealership shopping for a car. And so you just want to be aware that, that can happen. And if it does, you are able to get those inquiries removed, assuming that you did not open up any new credit as a result of that inquiry. So there is a whole process in how you do that. And I'll share just one specific tip with you on this. There's actually a data reporting agency called SageStream, and you can Google them. Just do a quick Google search and get their contact information. But basically what you'd want to do is contact SageStream via mail and let them know that you would like to place a security freeze on the information that they have in their database. And generally that's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks to process. They'll send you a letter just confirming that that has been done. Then what you're going to want to do is that you're going to, and I'm sorry, I'm babysitting a dog, so I'm just looking at what she's doing over here. She's making weird noises. So what you're also going to want to do is go into your credit report and look at any old addresses that you have, old phone numbers, old employment information, any aliases that are on there that are inaccurate, any misspellings of your name that are inaccurate, all of those things. You want to go in at the same time that you freeze your SageStream. You want to go in and write to the creditors and let them know, write to the credit bureaus and let them know that this information is inaccurate, and get those items disputed to be removed. One of the biggest things that impacts people on their credit is old addresses that are linked to information that is very, very old. So you may have a creditor that you had from 10, 15 years ago that, does a sweep of information and sees, oh, this is the same person from, 10 years ago. I see the address on the credit report. Let's just slap it on there, even though it's outside of the statute of limitation. So that's a very common trick that a lot of these creditors do. And it's a result of people having outdated information on their credit reports. So definitely make sure the information in your public information is absolutely correct. So what you want to do when you are challenging your inquiries is to send them a letter citing Section 604 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which actually mandates that the creditor must have a copy of a signed contract on file or some type of electronic signature that proves that you were the person that applied for this particular type of credit. And when you use these type of citations, the legal actual citation, you are kind of positioning yourself, because the creditor and the credit bureaus pretty much realize that you kind of have studied this stuff and you know what you're talking about. And so you usually will get like a much, much faster and more effective response from that. You also want to make sure that you mention in the letter that you have not signed anything giving this company authorization, and give them the opportunity to research the information. And generally speaking, you will see that the vast majority of the time that information comes off in that first round. If it doesn't, then there is escalations that you can do, and we're not going to go in too deep into that on this video, but that is something that is included in our ultimate credit repair system. So if you are interested in that, definitely that can help you. So the fourth secret that the credit bureaus and your creditors do not want you to know is kind of piggybacking on what I said before, which is that the burden of proof is on them in regards to validating any inaccuracies on your credit. So what you're going to do when you're writing to the credit bureaus is make sure that you're using a letter that is citing the specific statutes within the Fair Credit Reporting Act that protect you as a consumer from having them just put any and anything on your credit report. So what you want to do is you're going to be asking for evidence. In your first round of letters that you send out to the credit reporting agency, you're going to make sure that you notate to them. Hold on one second. What are you? Oh, it's a leaf. Okay, I'm sorry. She's making noises over here, but she must have drug a leaf in here from outside. Sorry. Anyway, so the burden of proof is on the credit reporting agency. And what you want to do in the first letter that you send out to the credit reporting agency is let them know, listen, this particular account is appearing on my credit report. It is not mine. According to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 609A1, you are out of compliance. You know, you must research this information and validate the information as being 100% accurate. If you cannot do that, then you must remove this item from my credit report. So most people do realize that you have, or the credit bureaus have, up to 30 days to research the information that's being reported on your credit report. But what a lot of people don't realize is that there is another step, and that is, in addition to them having 30 days to validate the accuracy of the information, they also have literally, and I thought it was a full 30 days, but in actually doing some further research, I found that it is 25 days that they have in order to validate, in order to notate on your credit file that the account in question is in dispute. So basically what that means is, let's just say that I mail out a letter today, and it's assuming it'll just be right for round numbers, it's December the 1st. And I mail it out, and then I find out that it was received by the credit reporting agencies on December the 4th. Basically, what happens is that that 30-day, how can I describe this simply? Basically, they have, from the time that they receive your letter of dispute, they have, you basically post date those days 5 days ahead of whatever date that they received it. So in that case, if they received it, let's just say the 5th, they received it on the 5th, then they can post date it to the 1st. So technically it was like the day that you mailed it. But basically what happens, let's just say anywhere between really at 25 days, no later than 30 days, each creditor is required by law to notate on your credit profile that that particular account is in dispute. If they are not notating that that account is in dispute within that time frame, then they're out of compliance with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and they have to remove that particular item immediately. So if they do not remove that particular item, that's actually okay, because we're going to address that in some of the next steps. So let's just say that you dispute it. They come back and say, oh, it's validated. But again, generally speaking, they do not, provide documentation to support how they validated it. So the next step that you're going to take is you're going to send out another dispute letter that is going to ask them for the method of their verification of this debt. And this is going to be according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 611, which is notating the signature requirement for them to provide in order to validate that you actually I'm sorry, 604 and 611. Um, this is about the signature requirement and also the procedure that they used to verify that this information was accurate. So you're basically requiring them, according to the laws as outlined by the Fair Credit Reporting Act, to provide documentation to support how they verify this information. So literally just going into their computer database and saying, oh, it's validated is not sufficient. They have to notate, they have to be able to notate, okay, we contacted the creditor on this date. We spoke with this person. They provided this type of documentation to support that this is in fact your debt. And 9 times out of 10, or half the time, most of these creditors or credit reporting agencies do not do that. So that is another thing that you want to do. And actually, let me even back up. The most effective way of doing disputing is not to even send your first rounds of disputes to the credit bureaus. It actually is to send it directly to the creditors. So the people that are saying that you owe them a debt, you want to send them these dispute letters first. You want to go through this process first directly with your creditors because it is a lot more efficient and you get better results. So the first round, again, would be to ask for evidence and cite the Fair Credit Reporting Act statute that I mentioned. The second round is going to be the method of verification. How did this creditor verify the information that they're reporting? And then if they come back and claim that they researched it and they, you still owe this debt or whatever they're trying to say, then you have a couple different options. Number one, you want to make sure, particularly in the first round of the dispute process, you want to make sure that you have active credit monitoring and that you are monitoring the dates of the activity on your account. Because what's going to happen there is if they don't notate your credit profile within exactly that 25-day to 30-day, I think I'm going to roll with the 30-day for now because that's what I've always thought it was. But I read something recently that said it was 25. I don't want to give you inaccurate information. So let's just roll with the 30. I'm going to have to go back into the Fair Credit Reporting Act and read it again myself. But let's just say that it's 30 days that they have to notate your account. They basically have to put on the credit profile that your account is in dispute within 30 days or less. And often, very, very often, they do not do that within that requested time frame. So if that is the case, they actually become liable to you for up to $1,000 per item per bureau. So this is a really, really good situation because you have ultimate leverage. When you go back to the creditor on that second round of disputing, you're not only going to be asking them to provide validation of the debt, you're also going to let them know you have not notated my credit profile correctly as being in dispute within the requested or the required time frame. You would print off a copy of your credit report that is dated, that shows when this particular credit report was pulled, and then you would mail it off with your dispute letter and let them know, listen, you are out of compliance and you are liable to me for up to $1,000 per item. So you can either remove this particular account from my report, or I am going to take you to small claims court, as well as provide information about this whole situation as a matter of public record in terms of like a press release and all that. So in general, these credit reporting agencies, they don't want people to really understand their rights. They don't want you to get a PR company or do anything like that that is going to promote the fact that this is in fact your rights as a consumer. So that's going to get their attention. The other thing that's going to get their attention is that these companies do not want to spend their time in court. Yes, they are big corporations, but at the end of the day, they still have to pay attorneys. They have to do all this stuff in order, if they do get sued, to have representation in the court. So they don't want to do that. And they know specifically if they did not report this account as being in dispute within that time frame, then they really don't have a leg to stand on. So 9 times out of 10, they will go ahead and remove that item. So if you get to this stage and for whatever reason, this crazy company is still stating that you owe this debt and they're not willing to get the information off, that's when you would escalate it and take it to small claims court. You would file a small claim against them and go to court sue them for defamation and along those lines. So that's basically how that whole dispute process works. This is the most effective means of disputing items on your credit report. There are a lot of companies out there that do quote unquote credit repair, but they don't use the most aggressive methods, which are tied to Section 609. And you hear a lot about the 609 letter, the 609 letter. Section 609 is a very powerful statute when it comes to the credit repair process. So you definitely would, it'd be an advantage to you to make sure that you are using that methodology when you're disputing items. So number 5, another thing that people don't realize that the credit bureaus don't want you to know is that your student loans can be removed. Just like anything else, and like I mentioned earlier, literally anything on your credit report can be disputed and or removed. The thing to keep in mind is that if you have old student loans that are in a collection status, maybe they're items that have been consolidated from years past, in some kind of way they're unverifiable, you want to dispute those and ask them for validation of the debt, just like any other item on your credit report. If it's an old account, if it's a collection account, a lot of times they will not follow the law, or they may not have the information to support that you do owe the debt, particularly if it's old and none of the contact information on your credit profile is attached to your profile anymore. It can be removed relatively easy. So that's something to keep in mind. Number 8, I'm sorry. Number 6. Your credit report can be swept. I'm sorry, she's getting a little antsy. Your credit report can be swept. And what do I mean by swept? A lot of people, you may be familiar with the whole terminology of a credit sweep. And basically what that means is that you may have negative items that have appeared on your report that are a result of items that are not yours. Generally speaking, they're going to be items where you are a victim of some type of identity theft. And as a result of that, there are specific consumer protections that have been put in place to make sure that those items come off quickly and that you are not suffering the consequences of an illegal act. So with that being the case, generally speaking, you can see these negative items come off within approximately 2 to 3 weeks. And this process is extremely effective because it just is. And again, like I said, it is specifically for people who are victims of identity theft. So if you fall in that category, you can literally, get your credit back in order in a very, very short period of time. So let's see. We already talked about number 7, which is to update your addresses. So definitely make sure that you only have your most recent address on file, and make sure that the spelling of your name is absolutely correct. If you are a junior or a 3rd or 4th or whatever, just make sure that that designation is appearing on your credit report so that you don't have other members of your family or people with similar names, their information put on your credit. Number 8 is that public records can be removed. Now, this is something that is a little gray hat, if you want to say, so just bear that in mind. However, with a bankruptcy, you are able to get it removed from your credit report, and you are also able to get the items associated with the bankruptcy removed from your credit report. And so, come here. This dog, I'm sorry, she's looking for attention. Um, so with that being said, yes, you can remove public records from your credit report. It is there is a specific process to be able to do it. There are actually databases that have your public records information, how the credit bureaus are able to validate that you actually have a public record. So what I'm saying there is the credit reporting agencies are not able to contact the courthouse of wherever you filed your bankruptcy to validate that you actually have that type of thing. So what they rely on are these databases to be able to pull and consolidate that information so that they can periodically sweep those databases and place that information on your report. However, if you are able to freeze these particular databases, then when you dispute those items, they can be removed from your credit report. So that is a specific process, and that is something that a service that we do offer. We are going to do a specific training on the public records removal process. So if you are interested in that and you are participating in the Credit and Funding Mastery Summit and you have not upgraded to the VIP premium package, make sure that you do so today, which is December the 4th, Tuesday, because you can actually get all of the training that's included within the Credit and Funding Summit, as well as that particular training, which is probably going to go for about at least $500 sold by itself. But if you get it today, it is only going to be $97 as part of your VIP upgrade. If you get it after tomorrow through December 7th, it will be $197. And then after that, it may or may not be available in the package. I haven't decided yet, but that rate is going up as well. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. We already talked about updating the latest addresses and names. Tradelines. The last thing that your creditors and creditors do not want you to know, and the credit bureaus don't want you to know, is that authorized user Tradelines can help you to boost your credit score very rapidly. For those of you that are not familiar with what a trade line is, it's basically a credit. Any type of account on your credit report is considered a trade line. However, generally speaking, when you hear people refer to trade lines, they're referring to authorized user revolving accounts. When I say revolving account, that means like a credit card, so or a line of credit. So basically, what happens is that you would have someone with a positive credit history. They have been paying it perfectly on time. They are generally going to be utilizing less than 30% of whatever the available balance on that card is. So if the available balance is $1,000, they're using no more than $300 of it. And again, because your credit score is calculated by a mix of how you use your credit, how long you've had your credit, that type of thing. The longer the history of the authorized user account that you get added to, the stronger it helps with building your report or your credit. So getting added to an authorized user trade line, you are able to piggyback on that existing individual's credit history and build your score up very rapidly. So depending on your specific credit, and something to keep in mind is that, a lot of times people say, well, how many points can I expect to have, by adding, an authorized user? And that's something that there's no set formula because everybody's credit is different. Literally, you can add an AU tomorrow and then have a collection account pop up on your credit report. You could go over the limit on your own existing credit card. There's a lot of different factors that are going to come into play why your credit score ends up being what it is. But with that being said, for most people, generally they'll see between a 10 to 20 point 10 to really 10 to 30 point, depending on the history of the account, increase in their score by adding an individual trade line to their account. So not only is it going to boost your score, but it also boosts the amount of credit that you can potentially qualify for. So keeping in mind that when creditors look to approve you for credit, they generally will approve you based on the type of credit that you currently have. So if you have, $500, $1,000, $1,500 credit card accounts on your credit, then when you go to apply for new credit, even if you have a 700, 750 plus credit score, they're going to approve you based on the limits of what you currently have. So, that $1,500, $500 mark. If you were to add an authorized user trade line, then you're basically, you can potentially increase that amount significantly. So for instance, if you added a $20,000 or $30,000 authorized user trade line, that when you go to apply for new credit, you're generally going to get approved at around that same level of, the cards that you have. So while it may not be exactly 30,000, it may be like 18 or 20, or, it's going to be a lot closer to that highest limit that you have on your credit report. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is that, a lot of people are always talking about, primary trade lines. Oh, do you have primary trade lines for purchase? And I want you to think about that. There are, and I have seen, some legitimate primary trade lines for sale, if you want to say that. But however, when they have history, and this is what I'm talking about, aged primary trade lines, that is I haven't seen anything legit in that realm. So just be very, very leery and be careful of that, because a lot of the vendors charge nice size amounts for those type of cards, and it can be one of those slippery slopes. So just be very careful about that. But authorized user trade lines can be very, very helpful for enhancing your credit and getting you approved for higher limits. And another thing to keep in mind, there are companies that will give you primary trade lines even if you have less than perfect credit history, up to a $5,000 or so limit. And these are like store cards. So they're, you can only use them for, shopping at that particular store, but it is going to give you a nice primary trade line up to $5,000. So definitely look into Hutton Chase, Ox Publishing, and there is another one that I'm not thinking of right now, but I'll put that in the description below the video. So in any event, those are 10 of the secrets that the credit bureaus and your creditors do not want you to know about your credit. And hopefully you have picked up a golden nugget or two that will help you to enhance your financial situation moving forward, help you to get a better perspective on what you need to do in order to navigate towards enhancing your credit in the future. And definitely appreciate your time. And I'm sorry, I'm just now seeing that I have some questions over here. I'm sorry, I was just talking and talking and talking. So I'm going to answer a few questions. Okay, so I see a message from Fortress Man. How does one dispute a closed account from an original creditor who continues to increase what's owed through the account, though the account has been closed for over 4 years and hasn't been sent to collections? Legally, they cannot do that. There's a lot of things that these creditors do that are not legal. They will add so-called interest to something that is closed. Well, let me not say that. If it is an account that has been closed, but it has not been sent to collections, then technically, that is a gray area. honestly am not gonna. That's a gray area. So I don't want to give you misinformation because I am not 100% sure on um, how that should be handled or how that would be classified. But I will say this, just like I mentioned, anything and everything on your credit report can be disputed, like anything. So with that being said, I would definitely just go through the dispute process, just like any other type of collection that you have, and force them to prove that you're guilty and make sure that they are following the law in terms of how the information is reported on your credit report. Because something as simple as them not showing that the account is in dispute can make them have to remove it. So definitely just keep that in mind. You were asking, do we offer the letter template? We do. We actually have the whole system packaged with templates, a step-by-step process on how you would go about, um, you know, what you would need to say in each stage of each letter, as well as, the information on how you would escalate and go about filing a lawsuit if that's necessary, which generally speaking it is not, because it usually doesn't come to that stage. But yes, we do. That is part of our ultimate credit repair system. We actually have that for sale on our website, and I'll put that. Actually, you can go to getyourcreditperfectnow.com/credit repair. And on that page, it is for sale. It is and what I want to say is that if any of you are interested in the ultimate credit repair system, which lays out all of that information about how to repair your credit, the whole system is in there. That's the ultimate credit repair system. If you have inquiries that you need to have removed, the ultimate inquiry combo package is another program that we have. Both of those products are included in the VIP upgrade for the Credit and Funding Mastery Summit. So if you have been wanting to get, a system on how you can get your inquiries removed, how you can get your credit repaired, all that stuff, that's actually included in the VIP upgrade for the Mastery Summit. And in addition to that, you're also going to get access to over 15 master trainings from credit experts, financial experts, and business experts that are going to give you a blueprint on how to get grant money, how to get business funding, how to how the credit scoring system works, how to build a successful business, how to promote your business for massive success and growth. I mean, we've got some really awesome trainings within this summit, and I'm really, really proud of it. So if you are interested in any of the templates or anything like that, I would highly recommend taking advantage of the summit offer, because for now until midnight tonight, it is only $97. After midnight tonight, it goes up to $197, and just the ultimate credit repair system by itself goes for $147. The inquiry removal combo package goes for $147. So literally, that's almost $300 right there by itself. You can get all the master trainings, access to a VIP mastermind. We've got a whole bunch of other bonuses, and you can literally get it for $97 right now. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Take advantage. You can go to the credit. Actually, I'll type it in here, but it's the Credit and Funding Mastery Summit.com. So you can go into that. Okay. What if they send you back a copy of the signed contract? if they do send you back a copy of the signed contract, literally, and I've been doing this full time for 4.5 years. Prior to that, I did mortgages and helped my clients with their credit repair at that point. Literally, I have maybe seen that happen twice in all that time. So even when they do, um, the long and the short of it is that most of these companies, when you deal with the company directly, the actual creditor, most of these companies do not really have a department that is set up to pull that information, not only access the information, pull the information, get it all together and mail it out within a 30-day time frame. So even in the event that they do something like that, which is very rare, generally speaking, it's not going to fall within that 30-day period because most of these companies just don't have a specific department that is set up to do that. So that's usually not a problem. You were asking about the offer. Again, because I'm broadcasting this live right now, I am actually hosting an event. It's called the Credit and Funding Mastery Summit. And you can go to the Credit and Funding Mastery Summit.com. And I think I typed it in there and oh yeah, I did. I just didn't hit send. So you can go to that site. You can actually register for free to gain access to master trainings in the areas of credit repair, personal credit repair, business credit, start a business, how to grow a business, all those things. You can actually register for free for a limited time right now. Now, what I was mentioning is that we are offering a VIP premium all access upgrade, which basically allows you to get access to all of the trainings for lifetime access. So you actually will be able to watch them on demand. When you're purchasing the free option, or when you're going through the free option, you can access these trainings for only a period of 24 hours from the time that they go live. So if you want to be able to access them after that 24 hours, then you can upgrade to the VIP premium and you get access to all those trainings. Additionally, you're going to get a number of bonuses, which include the ultimate credit repair system, the ultimate credit or inquiry combo system, a training that I'll be doing on how to remove public records from your credit report. You'll also get 2 tickets to a live event we'll be doing in spring of 2019. So it's going to be the Credit and Funding Mastery Summit live event, which should be very awesome. You'll also be getting, I think I mentioned, access to our VIP Mastermind. It's an online mastermind for like-minded people who are interested in taking their financial situation to the next level in all categories. You'll get, there's a few other bonuses, like literally in total, because I have a couple of speakers that have offered up some amazing bonuses as well. A couple of event tickets, 2 event tickets from the Money Smart mentor who teaches on how to manage and grow your money effectively. We've got a few different really mega bonuses. They literally end up being almost a little over $4,000 worth of bonuses. So right now, you can get VIP access for only $97. So I say if you are on the fence, don't think too hard. Just go ahead and order it because you'll never get access to all this type of information again for that price. So that is that. I'm sorry, my eyes are, I need my glasses. I'm sorry, it's blurry. Question, can you still be denied or approved by adding trade lines, even if the negative accounts haven't been removed? I always recommend that people remove negatives before they, well, let me see. It just depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to, get credit cards and you have collections that are within the last 12 to 18 months, then it's not going to really look very good when it comes to getting approved from any type of prime lenders. You may get some of the subprime companies like First Premier or Credit One, or sometimes even Capital One, because they can be pretty flexible in some of their programs. But I generally like to see people delete their collections before going to get trade lines. So specifically, if it's within a 12 to 18 month period. If it's longer than that, it shouldn't be as big of an issue. The company I've been talking about is 800 Lone Martha, and I don't know what company you're talking about. 763. Yeah, you definitely have to. When we're dealing with disputing these items, you really need to make sure that you are using the law to your advantage. It's the same way as like if you went to court and you were defending yourself and you didn't know any of the statutes that made you not guilty. It's the same kind of philosophy. So you've got to just make sure that you're using the particular statutes and you're referencing them so that they know, literally, like, I know what I'm talking about. This is not just stuff I'm pulling out of the sky. So when you do that, you generally will get a lot better results and people will take you a lot more seriously when it comes to getting these items taken care of. A title loan company. Oh yeah, those are the evil people. Yeah, there's a lot of just very, very irreputable companies out here that take advantage of people and put people in these horrible loans and financial situations that they literally have to keep borrowing against to try to get out of, and it's like a nightmare. That's why I'm really, really passionate about credit education and just helping people to navigate through this space, because what we don't know can hurt us so badly. Like, there's nothing worse than really needing money or needing to do some things financially and not having access to funds, having an amazing opportunity at hand and not having the funds to take advantage of it is just horrible. So, I always say, try to maintain your credit and get things in order before you need it, because if you wait, a lot of times it can be too late. But I definitely appreciate everyone that joined in on the session. This video is going to be live within the summit in just a few. But again, if you are on the fence, I encourage you to go to the Credit and Funding Mastery Summit.com. Check out the bonuses that are offered with the VIP upgrade and take advantage of it now before it goes up, because it's going up tonight at midnight. So hope you guys got some great value. Definitely look forward to chatting with you all soon. Take care and have a good night.